Arthur and Maya were acquainted during their teenage years. They belonged to the same social circle, with Maya being romantically involved with Tristan, a notorious troublemaker who happened to be older than their male companions. The girls, though putting on a facade of friendliness in person, were envious of Maya and frequently talked ill of her behind her back. Meanwhile, Arthur secretly harbored feelings for Tristan's girlfriend, masking his emotions from everyone, fearing the potential ramifications if their friendly squad were to learn of his affection and inform Tristan. Subsequently, the bond between their friends gradually withered away. Some relocated, others focused on their studies and exams, while a few desperately attempted to sustain their friendship. Maya belonged to the latter category, as she prepared herself for college. Her romance crumbled, causing her to disengage from their group's gatherings, leading Arthur to exclusively encounter her solely at school. To his astonishment, one day she approached him of her own volition, engaging in light-hearted conversation as if they were the closest of pals. Each time she waved at him from across the hall, Arthur's heart and soul fluttered with joy. A month later, with tears streaming down her face, Maya paid Arthur an unexpected visit, clutching a white stick decorated with 2 pink stripes. Without uttering a single word, Arthur comprehended the circumstances and hastened to provide solace to his beloved. He vowed never to abandon her side, assuring her that they would undoubtedly embark on marriage, as their child deserved to be raised within a complete and, above all, loving family. In a matter of mere weeks, all of Arthur's cherished dreams materialized. His beloved girl remained by his side. They submitted their application to the registry office, and Maya carried his child nestled in her womb. Unbounded happiness consumed Arthur's being. Half a dozen years had flown by without either of them really noticing. To the couple, it felt as though they'd been together for a lifetime. So intertwined had they become. Arthur was utterly smitten with his wife and treated her like precious cargo, encapsulated by the sensation that he had indeed made a success of life. Recently, Maya had left her job to venture into a new field of work. Right after her maternity break ended, she found employment at a library close to where they lived. Originally planning only to remain until she secured a job in her area of expertise, she instead found herself there for a full 3 years. Now, having some leisure time, Maya relished spending her days meandering through shops, savoring coffee in quaint cafes, or indulging in pampering spa treatments. On one such day, as she drifted through a mall, Maya paused in front of a boutique window displaying an elegantly set table for the new year, marveling at its beauty. "What characters these people are," she heard someone exclaim. Breaking her trance, she turned to see who had spoken. Tristan. Her heart seemed to skip a beat, and her legs felt like they might buckle under her. "It's been ages," he greeted her with a nostalgic smile reserved for an old flame. They exchanged pleasantries and life updates. Tristan hadn't changed much in appearance since their earlier days, still sporting that youthful rebellion. Though slightly more mature, his presence swiftly rekindled a flood of memories for Maya. During her marriage, Maya often found herself reflecting on Tristan, her first love, particularly during sleepless nights. She pondered what might have been if she had stayed with him and disclosed her pregnancy. Would their lives be joyfully intertwined now? And here he was, standing before her, his characteristic smirk narrating tales of his current escapades. All Maya yearned to do in that moment was to fling herself into his arms and lose herself in a kiss that would leave her lips throbbing. Gazing into Tristan's eyes, she smiled, her mind a whirlwind of forbidden thoughts and longing for escapades afar. "Fancy a cup of coffee?" she proposed to a familiar face from the past. He nodded in agreement. She had a few spare hours before she had to collect her son. She eagerly absorbed every word that Tristan uttered, attentively listening to his stories and relishing his company. Time seemed to slip away unnoticed, and reluctantly, she had to bid farewell. Climbing into her car, Maya couldn't hold back her tears. It was evident that her love for this man still lingered. Tristan took the initiative to add Maya as a friend on a social networking site, and wasted no time in striking up a conversation. When he suggested meeting up again, Maya didn't hesitate to accept. Arthur was perplexed by his wife's behavior. Suddenly, she became guarded and started concealing her phone. When he inquired about her well-being, she would simply respond with a vague assurance that all was well, refusing to delve deeper into the subject, despite her past inclination to discuss their day. Additionally, Maya began spending more time with her friends out of the blue. Negative thoughts started to creep into Arthur's mind, but he steadfastly fought to dispel them. He simply didn't want to entertain any sinister ideas. As the new year approached, a time of mirth, gifts, and surprises, Maya broached the topic with Arthur during dinner one evening. "What do you think about gathering the old gang? Julia and I have been chatting, and she proposed a get-together to celebrate the upcoming festivities." Arthur shrugged indifferently. The idea didn't particularly excite him. He only maintained close ties with two individuals from that former circle, as the rest remained dormant in the annals of his past. Nonetheless, he agreed, witnessing the fervor in his wife's eyes. The reunion day for the old pals was fixed and inching closer inevitably. Maya was a bundle of nerves. Everything seemed to slip through her grasp. Observing her frazzled state, Arthur suggested she stay home and indulge in some TV time. Clearly, his wife was tempted to take that escape route, but her sense of obligation towards others held her back. The gathering turned into a boozy affair. Arthur, feeling like a carefree teenager once again, found himself distanced from his usual mature self laden with responsibilities. Seeking solace, he wandered out to the balcony for a breath of fresh air. Immersed in the cool, crisp night, he admired the elegant waltz of snowflakes under the streetlight's glow. His solitude was abruptly interrupted by Tristan's entry. A wave of strong aversion washed over Arthur at the sight of him. "How's she doing?" Tristan flicked his lighter and exhaled a cloud of smoke. "Good. And you?" Arthur responded out of sheer courtesy, though he couldn't care less about Tristan's answer. His words were slurred under the influence of alcohol, making his tongue feel heavy. Barely engaged in the conversation, Arthur continued to be mesmerized by the snowfall, but a fragment of the dialogue snagged his attention. Maya's name floated through the air. "You say something?" Arthur queried. "I'm telling you, Maya's fantastic, especially in bed," Tristan said, rolling his eyes in a mock display of ecstasy. "What do you mean?" Arthur's body tightened with unease. "How do I know? We met just 2 days ago." Tristan paused, lost in thought, before continuing. "Yeah, 2 days ago." Arthur was floored by the revelation. He inquired about where their paths had crossed, secretly wishing for a different story. But Tristan's response was clear. She had visited him, and it wasn't for the first time. That night, Arthur exited the party faster than he ever had in his entire life. He brushed off his wife's calls. When Maya finally got home, she arrived later than Arthur, her face streaked with tears, and her hair a tangled mess. Arthur was hit by the sharp smell of alcohol wafting from her, causing his stomach to churn. Without prompting, Maya began spilling her guts, recounting how she'd reconnected with her ex and harbored secret feelings for him all these years. Then came the bombshell. This scheme had taken root in her mind the moment she saw the positive pregnancy test. Unable to reconcile with Tristan, and without considering an abortion due to their financial constraints, Maya opted to keep her condition hidden from Tristan. She knew Arthur had a soft spot for her, saw him as a dependable, intelligent man destined for success. It wasn't difficult to convince him the baby was his. Arthur gazed across the table at his wife, scarcely recognizing the strategic, sly person before him. Could this truly be the woman he had cherished all these years? Was it possible she had deceived him so utterly? His love for their son was unshakable, yet now he was adrift, uncertain how to navigate the revelations before him. Should he remain with Maya, maintaining a facade of unity for their son's sake? Or should he part ways, ensuring at least a semblance of contact with his child? His thoughts were interrupted as he observed Maya once more, the woman who had shattered his trust. Love isn't easily discarded. How could he possibly punctuate this chapter in his life? As if on cue, Maya resolved the dilemma herself by announcing a week later that she and their son were moving in with Tristan. She kept the boy in the dark about the reality of his lineage. Post-separation, Arthur and Maya's interactions were sporadic, limited to discussions about school activities and sports. Arthur later discovered that Maya had left Tristan after a shocking betrayal 6 months into their cohabitation. She had returned to her parents' home with her son. In retrospect, Maya harbored no regrets about the outcome, but lamented the years spent perpetuating a facade of marital bliss.